Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another cast, another game, what is this, a 3v3 on a map called Artificial Hills. Guys, this is one of the cast requests that was sent in to me. God only knows when, I can't say. Your resident caster here, Mr. Wingflyer, has been nothing more than a total disgrace to the entire community and to the entire world. Somebody please put me in a box and send me to the gulag. It's what I deserve. But guys, if you can bear with me for just a few more minutes, I may just redeem myself in this game, as I have heard this is going to be a very epic match. Some nice talent on both sides. And FN here, who I played a 1v1 with the other day, and he absolutely stomped me into the ground, sir. It was very upsetting. I don't like to be crushed in such an unceremonious manner as that. I'd like to think of myself as a good player, but FN had other ideas, and we'll have to see if FN can perform this game as well as he did against me. Going bomber first, I do like this strategy. Going air first, it's a little risky, but of course, if you use the bomber correctly, you can obviously get plenty of damage done. Make it more than worth it. So, guys, before we get too far into this game, join my Discord. Come be part of my community. I would love to have you. We're playing all the time. You can talk to me. You can ask questions. You can relive the glory days of RTS together. I'll put the link in the Discord. All right, enough shilling. Let's get into it. FN begins his bombing run shenanigans. Oh, that was... We don't talk about that. Okay, Orange attempting his own attack here with a few weasels. But doesn't seem like it's going to get much done, aside from just being annoying. So, yeah, here at the start of the game, nothing too extraordinary to point out. Blue certainly not getting what he wanted. FN saying noob left. So let's go ahead and introduce the players before I forget. FN, having succumbed to his own shame, will reclaim his aircraft plant and go straight into K-Bots. Red, Rage Gamer, of course, he started K-Bots. Angel started vehicles in orange. In green, Mr. Big TA Noob. So it doesn't seem like FN was insulting him. That's literally his name. In pink, we have Lavoom, who is in my Discord. Hello, Lavoom. How are you doing? And finally, Mr. Lester Molester in brown. I'm sure he doesn't appreciate being called that. But I'm the caster. I make the rules. And so that is his name, but maybe he can show me that he is actually deserving of more respect, using these weasels to get some damage done, cause some frustration for FN, who of course is going to be a little behind, as he did have that complete failure of a bombing run. I think he built 2 bombers, and I don't think the second one did much of anything either, so overall the only real benefit he has from that plant was this construction aircraft. And at this part of the game, it's really not going to do that much. There's no part of this map that is not traversable by land units, or like K-Bots and vehicles. As you can see, vehicles can get on these hills, and K-Bots can. So there's just no reason that you need air. There's not like plateaus that are only traversable by aircraft. The aircraft at this part of the game is going to do almost nothing. But nonetheless, that does not mean that the game is over. He does still have a scout. FN can definitely come back. It's a risky play. Going bomber first is always hard because for it to really be worth it, you have to micro almost perfectly. And the enemy doesn't have to do that much to counter it. Just build a couple missile towers in the right place. But we certainly have seen it make a difference in the right hands. But yeah, this game I think FN just kind of put himself behind. And now the Southern team, it looks like they are on the defensive here as Pink and Green will push down with a nice combination of peewees and flashes here. The construction vehicle in trouble. Some nice harassment going on here. Pink will focus this con down. It will die. So the players are drawing all over the map like little kids. Sometimes you play TA, and other times you play preschool. And you draw everywhere, and that's kind of what's happening. Mostly orange. Mr. Angel, quite artistic individual, obviously. Green moving through with some flashes. Raged Gamer, our resident map maker. This man makes the worst maps I have ever seen in my life. They're so bad that they're actually good. It's like those movies that are actually objectively trash, but they're so terrible that they somehow have like a redeeming quality. That's like Rage Gamer's maps. Like, they're so terrible. I played this one map of Rage Gamers at some point. I can't remember what it was called, but it made my eyes bleed. I almost had to go to the hospital after that game. Like, my eyes were just hurting. Like, he had just used... I think it was called Heaven and Hell. And so he was, like, trying to make, like, one side was supposed to be heaven. Like, bright and, you know, I don't know, elaborate and pure and whatever. And then the other side was supposed to be hell, and it was, you know, dark and red and evil. But in the end, it just hurts your eyes. It's almost worth casting just so that my viewers can also have their eyes hurt and have to suffer like I did. But I basically said never again. It's not worth the visual trauma. But we do love content creators in this community of all kinds. Map makers, mod makers, our balance team, and all of their very important input. Everyone contributes. We all have a part to play in the greater plan of keeping the best RTS ever alive. So I do appreciate Rage Gamer for his attempts. He's made more maps than I have, which is 0. And I wouldn't even want to make a map. It would probably be an abomination. So at this part of the game, nothing too super noteworthy, I guess. Players just kind of doing really, very standard things. The northern team has continued to focus their attacks in this one particular area, and I have no idea why, because this is the most defended area, literally, of the entire... I mean, you could just walk through here with no resistance at all, but they continue to send all their forces to the one area where the entire southern team is gathering. Whoa! The replay is freaking out. So guys, I've had people who watch my channel make comments like, why does the game look so crappy? You know, why do the units stutter? Why is there, you know, artifacts on the screen? What's going on? TA didn't used to do this. Guys, that's the replayer. The Total Annihilation did not have a built-in replayer like StarCraft did. A third-party group of people had to build a program from scratch that would use the game data and recreate the game. And so the game itself, when you play it, is still smooth as silk. It's just the replayer, which is kind of like jury-rigged to work. I mean, it works well enough. It allows us to see what happened, but yeah, like, it's not... It creates some sort of jarring visual effects. But this is not what the gameplay is like, so don't worry. If you do want to play again, it will be just like you remember, except better. Because instead of 640 by 480, you can play it in glorious 1080p. Whatever resolution you want. I'm on 1440p for my casts. But you could even go 4K if you wanted. I doubt you'd be able to see anything. But it would be funny. You'd be playing from space. You'd be playing with little tiny dots on your screen. But anyway, Red, Mr. Rage Gamer, is on T2. Let's see what the other players are doing here. Okay, so FN does eventually use this aircraft to start work on an advanced aircraft plant, and that could actually come in useful at some point. A good use of brawlers or T2 bombers, as I said in my previous cast, like Gordon Freeman. One good bombing run can make all the difference. Pink on Advanced K-Bot Labs, throwing out advanced construction vehicles, and probably, maybe even going into Mavericks or some other interesting unit. Fidos would be okay as well. We'll have to see. And light green going advanced aircraft as well. So right now, nothing too out of the ordinary happen as both teams simply building up their economies, building up their forces, slowly taking over the map. Blue has quite a few Roccos, and he will send those forward, but Brown also has some Roccos as well, and I don't think this is really enough to cut the mustard, as I've said before. Big TA Noob is now on Advanced Air, so that could work on his favor. I don't know if I mentioned this map is called Artificial Hills. Brown now seems to have come out on top of that particular engagement, and he has more storms. But there are javelins in the mix here. Of course, the javelin being powerful T-1.5 arm tank, and so we'll have to see if Brown can overcome this. He is kind of knocking on the door there, but I don't know if that's enough to really break through, as Brown has transitioned to T2, so he's not truly investing all his resources into the army. Just enough to keep Blue at bay. Mr. Lavoom, our pink player, with his own long-range harassment. And I like what Green's doing here. He's kind of building a defended position. It's relatively spread out, so it will be difficult to get through this area. He's got some Dragon's Teeth in front of the light laser towers. It's also kind of aesthetically pleasing as well. He has a good sense of style. A lot of players, including me, just throw anything anywhere in the most disordered manner possible, but this is a very nice looking defensive position that Green has. Blue is making brawlers, or using brawlers, as I mentioned earlier. Lavoom screaming in the chat, AA on comms, terrified about the snipe attempt, or the snipe possibility of a snipe. These brawlers could have come just in time. Brown was massing an army that may have threatened Blue's base, but with the brawlers, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. There's not much enough air defense really on the front line to stop these. There's quite a bit of air defense on the hill there, and some air defense here. A couple flaks now in Brown's base. Unfortunately, Pink, who... Wasn't it Pink that begged his team to build air defense? He has no air defense. It doesn't even look like he's attempting. So Pink should listen to his own advice. Green with not... Well, he's got some... No, yeah, not a ton of air defense here either, so only Brown taking the threat of brawlers seriously. Pink now has built a nice army of Fidos. I did mention this earlier. And that is going to rule the battlefield, I think, for now. But isn't enough Fidos to break through the southern defensive line there? That I don't know. Maybe if he had about twice that many Fidos, it might work. Red moving forward with a few Mortys, but not enough Mortys to really be an existential threat just yet for the northern team. But again, Fidos are good here. They're going to be good against Reapers in this number. And as long as he avoids this heavy laser tower, could get some damage done. However, there is a Punisher in the back that will deal some damage to the marauding Fido army here, but now walking into range of the Gat and the Mortys, and ultimately Pink's push will be cleaned up. Brown now covering the skies with some fighters and of course a single Mantis as well. So ultimately Blue may find it difficult because Brown is the only player that's taking this air threat seriously is Brown. He's got plenty of air defense, but Pink is trolling. That 4 defenders will do nothing if Blue decides to snipe his commander. Same thing with Green. He's got... Oh, no. He does have a flak. Okay. So he has a couple flaks. I didn't see that before. Pink is vulnerable. The other 2 players seem to be okay. And Green with his own brawlers, so I like the use of brawlers here. I think brawlers can be quite effective at this stage of the game. Really, almost any stage of the game, brawlers can be effective, but certainly now. Good use of air by both teams. You love to see it, man. Some of these team games, neither side really utilizes air, and it's so sad for me to watch or cast because air is such an effective tool, especially in team games where one player can really focus on it, devote most of his economy to his air force. But yeah, still not a huge amount to talk about right now. Pink attempting another push, but there's a lot of Mortys here, so that's really not going to be too effective. Brown now moving through with Storms and Dominators, but most of these shots are hitting the wall here, not even reaching their targets. Brown will need to move up the hill to truly be effective. Right now the game pretty even. Both teams have a decent amount of the map, but neither side having control of the middle, which could make the difference. There's tons of metal. Oh my god, shoot me. There's tons of metal on this middle plateau for whichever team can take it. So typically whichever team holds the mid will have an advantage. Pink moving through with a lot of Fidos. Seems to be about 14 or so left. And these could get some damage done. They're getting close. Ooh, that's a lot of Mortys, though. The Fidos will focus the advanced K-Bot lab, but they will not kill it. Cans now moving into the fray. But Cans versus Panthers. There's an HLT. That's a lot of Cans. There is a Punisher here which will inflict nice damage, and of course the Mortys as well. The Cans are too slow to dodge the Morty shots, but still, he doesn't want to use these Mortys in melee. These Cans, I think, in the end won't accomplish that much. I think... let's slow it down a little bit. There's an air combat happening here, but If Brown had literally just taken his cans and moved it up the hill, there's almost no defense here at all. Blue building a repulsor. But yeah, Brown actually sent the cans in the worst possible place, which is over here. This is the most heavily defended part of the southern team's base. We've got multiple Punishers, we've got heavy laser towers, we've got Mortys. So basically, the northern team choosing the wrong place to attack here. There are much less defended and defensible areas. They're still breaking through, they're still getting some damage done. But really, this attack could be so much more effective if focused on the right side. Fidos will die, but yeah, on the right side, there's comparatively little defense. There is some air defense, but otherwise, not much. There's a few Panthers. I guess there's Brawlers. But in terms of stationary defenses, not much. This repulsor will be finished, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. See where this tactical nuke takes us, or see how it's used. Holy cow! Mr. Big TA Noob has rushed T3 Air. So he was able to do that because he basically has not participated in the game almost at all, aside from building some defenses here and maybe some Hawks flying around. And then I guess he had a few Brawlers earlier. Or no, that was Brown. So yeah, Green has basically not participated in the game at all. He does have a few Brawlers. But that's what allowed him to go to rush T3 Air. But that could have like a huge impact on the game. T3 Arm, T3 Air for Arm is so impressive. Blue will come and kill these Brawlers like instantly. But yeah, if he could build some Auroras and use them well, or like micro them correctly, that could be devastating. There's a lot of different options for Arm T3 Air that could give the northern team a huge advantage in this game. More Brawlers. Alright, let's slow it down. The air combat has begun in earnest here. Huge armies of Hawks and even Vertigos duking it out on both sides. And Vertigos, of course, are the T3 air superiority fighters, so they will even kill groups of Hawks relatively easily. So in the end, a few Vertigos is all that are required to kill the Brawlers that were rampaging around in Brown's army. FN panicking. He understands that now they have T3 Air. Oh, I didn't realize the Vertigo was actually kind of like a gunship too. This is really cool. So the Vertigo was doing kind of a strafing run there, or a gunship attack on Blue's fortification. So I didn't realize the Vertigo was actually kind of a hybrid gunship, but also air superiority fighter. That was pretty cool. I'm gonna have to test that in my next game. Maybe build some Vertigos, use them as a makeshift gunship. That's so cool. It reminds me of the if any of you have ever played Forged Alliance, the Aeon. So there's 4 factions in Forged Alliance. There's UEF, Cybran, and Aeon and Seraphim. But the Aeon has a T3 gunship that also doubles as an anti-air unit. What is it called? I want to say the Redeemer, but no, it's not called the Redeemer. It's got some kind of weird name like that. This is going to bother me now. But anyway, so the Aeon has a T3 gunship that's really strong against ground, but it also has a decent anti-air capability. And so that is one of the reasons the Aeon is thought of as the best air race in the game. is that hybrid gunship that's really strong against ground, but also is decent as an anti-air tool as well. And sort of what the Vertigo reminds me of. It's not called the Redeemer though. I can't remember what is the name. If anyone knows the name of the Aeon T3 gunship, what is the name of the Aeon T3 gunship? That quite powerful in FAF, quite well known. Very interesting unit. But yeah, Vertigo giving me Aeon T3 gunship vibes. Targeting the Lacerator. There's no flak here. The Northern team continuing to push this side that has the most defense. I don't agree with this, but it is working. I can't argue with results. I'm a result-driven man. I will take results where I can get them. So if it works, I'm not going to shit on it too much. And it is working. It does seem like the Northern team taking out most of the defenses here, aside from this Punisher. It's the only real thing left. The advanced K-Bot lab is now pretty exposed, and Green could probably just take his Air Force down here and kill that advanced K-Bot lab they've been trying to destroy for the past 10-20 minutes. But really nice play by Green here. I like what he's doing. I think this attack, this squad of Vertigos and Brawlers has been very effective. So, and the Southern team hasn't really built the counters they need. Of course, it's hard to counter Vertigos because they control the sky. So they're gonna have to build ground-based counters for now if they want any chance. Nice use of Vertigos. This is the first time I've ever really seen the Vertigos being used like this, and I like it. I like it a lot. Blue losing Bulldogs, also bringing Hawks into the fray, but again, these Vertigos are going to blow those out of the sky. These are the air superiority fighters. So I have developed a newfound respect for this unit. It's really interesting. Red finally moving his massive Morty ball to the north into Pink's army of Samsons, which are relatively useless. Pink has said something rather uncouth in the with the marker. We do not cuss in this channel. This is a Christian cast, sir. They do finally take out the advanced K-Bot lab, but yeah, we do not cuss on this channel. We do not use sailor language here. This is a wholesome PG-13 rated caster. So please, people, do not. Anyone that plays the game, anyone that's watching this as an escalation player, watch your language. We don't tolerate that kind of behavior on this cast. We're a wholesome Christian channel. Centurion on the field, so Blue has made it to T3 land. He is building some Phoenixes, but I don't know about this. The Northern team clearly has complete control of the sky. It's not even a contest. So with that said, I don't think these Hurricanes are going to get much of, or the Phoenixes are going to get much of anything done. I think he's just wasting his resources. I'd be surprised if those achieved anything. He is now building some Scorpions. I did mention earlier they will need other anti-air defense against the Vertigos and whatever other options that Green chooses to employ. I'd love to see some Auroras. Guys, I've said in previous casts, the Aurora is my favorite escalation unit. It is like a T3 nuclear bomber. It drops bombs just like any other bomber, and like it's a line bomber or it's a carpet bomber, but each bomb is like a nuke. It's so fun to watch, and we've seen many a game ended in this fashion. Brown with the upgraded sumos, and these are strong enough to even take on Centurions that themselves are not upgraded. So nice job by Brown. The game will continue. Pink continuing to send down armies of Bulldogs and Fidos, but I don't know about this. This has had limited effectiveness. I mean, I suppose he did take out the advanced K-Bot Lab finally, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. The Mortys are still here, putting out some good fire for the southern team to try to hold that position. The game has already entered the T3 phase. Brown now working on Talos, but we are perhaps getting to the T3 phase in earnest. I'd like to see Green build something other than Vertigos. He has been relatively effective with them so far, but they've only been skimming the outer edges of the southern team's base. The true measure of effectiveness will be the deep bombing campaigns. And for that, he will need something a little stiffer than a Vertigo, maybe an Aurora. The Repulsor, I think, has shot a couple, but I haven't been watching. It only has 5 kills, so doesn't seem like it's had the hugest impact on the game. But now Blue with Scorpions, and with Scorpions entering the field, these Vertigos are going to become nigh useless, especially on the eastern side. So again, Green needs to transition, I think, into something a little bit beefier, a little bit more expensive, a little bit harder to kill. I think the age of the Vertigo is almost at an end in this game. So, I'll get rid of my scribblings. Orange almost at T3. Red, of course, has just been building advanced K-Bot Labs all game. It doesn't even look like he's attempting to go T3, which is a little concerning, but of course Red has the worst position out of all of them. He's kind of smushed between 2 players, so his economy will probably be the hardest to upgrade. Blue has the best economy in the southern team, and in fairness, he's built a respectable number of Phoenixes, but will it be enough Phoenixes? There is quite a bit of air defense here, and some Verticos are still alive, and Brown also has Vamp, so even with all those Phoenixes, he's going to have to find perfect targets, and also the perfect approach. Pink is certainly the most vulnerable. Pink has almost no air defense at all, but does he know that? Blue will need to scout to truly use this. Guys, I've said this before in my casts, but I say it more in the game. Ah, here comes another tactical nuke. Let's see what this one can get done. It only has 5 kills so far. Oh, not bad. Barely hurt the Talos, but everything else took a decent amount of damage. The Sumos, of course, are pretty hard to kill, but yeah, guys, do not spend 20 minutes building up a massive air armada and then just send it randomly into the enemy base. Part of a good bombing campaign is that you have to scout your opponent and find the best avenue of approach. Pink, aside from the Samsons at the front, has almost nothing. He does have a lacerator, or a slingshot, but no flak. Blue, if he scouts this, if he pays enough attention and has a good enough read on the enemy base, he will see that the pink is the most vulnerable to a bombing run by a country mile. Green has flak. Green isn't super well defended. Flak isn't the best against T2 bombers. So green would be okay too, but brown is objectively the worst. This is what I'm saying. If blue sends his massive Phoenix army that he's been building for the past 20 minutes into brown's base, he's trolling. It's the worst target. Just because it's the closest target does not mean it's the best target. Brown is the most prepared for this by far. He's got, look at all these flaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Lacerator as well. And oh my god, more over here. So, look, if blue sends his bombing run into brown's base, he's trolling. Guys, do not just send your bombing run into the player's base that's close to you because you're a nincompoop. Please use your brains, build scouts, find weak spots in the enemy base. This many bombers is a massive investment in time and resources. It needs to get something accomplished. It's not good enough to just send it, you know, Jesus take the wheel and close your eyes and just hope it works. I will not accept that as a caster. And please, blue. Find pink's base. He's building a decent amount of peepers, but he's going to have to use them correctly or use them well in order to find the weak spot in the defenses. There are quite a few Samsons here, but once he flies past these, pink has almost nothing. I mean, at this stage of the game, may as well be nothing. So relying on these Samsons to protect the approach, but those won't stop a dedicated Phoenix run. Talos on the field now. Brown pushing in earnest with Sumos and Talos. So let's keep an eye on this. Both teams doing a decent job of protecting themselves, preventing these pushes from being effective. I think Pink's Fido and Bulldog pushes have reached the end of life of their effectiveness. I don't think that's going to work anymore. He's now building a Nova, which is a good choice. I mean, in fairness to Pink, a few Novas could slowly begin to take over the game. The Nova is basically just a walking Bertha. So, yeah, a few Novas, definitely a good option in this game if they can survive that long. Problem is that Pink doesn't really have much to defend himself aside from these Fidos. No, almost no defense in the middle at all. There's some decent defense here. Green has opted to go for a Tempest instead of an Aurora. I don't like it. The Tempest is okay as like a skirmisher unit. Fighting on the edge of combat, but the Tempest can't really penetrate deep into the southern team's base the way that green needs to. So at this juncture, I think the southern team has the advantage just because they're much more well defended. This whole left side is basically no man's land. Nothing's going to get through there anytime soon. And the right side has blue's army. So, and they have more of the map, as you can kind of see. And blue finally committing his bombing run. But what does he want to do with it? He's blown his load here. The northern team is aware of this existence now. Green bringing his vertigo, but getting baited into flak, so that ultimately won't achieve anything. But blue has made the presence of his bombers known here. And I think that was a bit of a mistake. They didn't really accomplish much there. Part of the effectiveness of a bombing campaign is the surprise factor. Works a lot better if your opponents don't know it's coming, and now they're going to know for damn sure that this is coming. That was a ton of bombers. He didn't just send 1 or 2. He sent the whole fleet, and there's probably like 40 or 50 in here. So that's a huge amount of bombers, but again... Ooh, another tactical nuke flying in. Oh, I like this. I like that. I like that a lot. He takes out all of the Samsons there, clearing a path into Pink's base that is just like, come and get me, sir. That is the perfect approach. And now, will Blue find this? This is so crucial. Will Blue find this? There is a giant area in the middle of the northern team's base where there is no air defense at all. Blue needs to see that. But instead, he sent all of his scouts straight into Brown's base, and they all just died like instantly. So guys, this is... let me tell you something. When you send scouts, you can use the attack button, and that will make the scouts spread out into a line. So if he attacked, like here, the scouts would spread out, and they sort of go in a... like a delta formation. It's hard to explain, but typically you don't want to just send all your scouts in a line like that. It's not going to accomplish much. And in the end, this prevented Blue from having the information that he so desperately needed to make an effective bombing run, because Pink's base is exposed here. This is the green light. This would be the ideal situation, but Blue will not know that because he sent all of his scouts straight into Brown's base in a line, and they all just exploded. So this is really sad because Blue could be killing Pink right now if he used his scouts a little better. And of course, we'll have to see what he wants to do with it. But guys, that's just for future reference. Here we go. Blue has made his decision. He will be going for this T3 factory. And he will probably get it. Barely. Oh my god, he's not even going to get it. Oh, this is so painful to watch. Guys, Blue just sent his bombing run to the worst possible place on the map. And it accomplishes nothing. So, guys... if you learn nothing else from this cast, that's what I want you to know. If he had sent it to Green's base, it would have been way better. Pink's base is obviously the best, but yeah, guys, no. That's painful. That is painful to watch. Don't just bomb the closest player. Do some scouting. In fairness, Blue tried to do some scouting. It was just a completely miserable attempt to do scouting. He just sent all of his scouts into Brown's base and they exploded. But Blue will attempt an attack after that. Unfortunately, the Ultra Vehicle plant will be fully healed by the time he even gets there. And, yeah, ultimately, he could still kill it, but the bombers didn't achieve anything. So, he is making some progress, but there is heavy defense and Sumos and Talos. So, it's going to be close as to whether he can actually take out the Ultra Vehicle plant. It looks like he can't. He will be retreating here, so even his attack ultimately will not be a success. Let's check out the player bases, see what is going on in Disneyland here. I like Blue's base. He's got a good eco. So Blue's macro is pretty good. But man, Brown's macro. Lester, look at all these mantle extractors. Holy cow, is this right? Oh, for a second it said 1100 metal per second. That can't be right. That has to be a bug. That is a stupid amount of metal, but I mean, maybe it is. It keeps fluctuating. No, now it's at 600. So we'll take that number as the truth. Like, let's say Brown is making about 600 metal per second. Look at all these mantle extractors. I don't think I've ever seen so many. The problem is that Lester does not have the energy economy to support all of this metal. He will finish a Krogoth at around the 55-minute mark. And could have a good impact. Another tactical nuke will be flying in. Maybe going to try to target some of the defenses, but looks like there was an anti-nuke somewhere. I don't think that hit its intended target. Ultimately, yeah, I'm still disappointed about that bombing run. Pink deserved to die here. Pink's base is just so open. And it's a little depressing that the Southern team has not exploited that at all. They just don't... I don't know what they're building, but they're just not building the right units. You know, a good composition could just break through here and kill these Novas. But instead, the Novas will be shelling everything from a huge distance. And creating a big headache for the Southern team. Blue attempting yet another attack. And this time, he will go to the more exposed part of Brown's base, which is this cliff, but unfortunately for Blue, a Krogoth will make it just in time to send this push straight into the abyss, as all these Centurions stand no chance against Krogoth. So another Krogoth on the way. Lester's economy is exploding here. He's certainly doing the best in the game. He's got mantle extractors galore. This Krogoth almost unimpeded. The spiders can't stun it. I don't think Blue has anything to deal with this at all. Not even a annihilator. Oh, take that back. He does have a Vulcan that it looks like he may have just completed. So a Vulcan could put some hurt on the Krogoth, but alone it won't be enough to stop it. Blue's gonna need to pull something out of his hat. Maybe just start building shooters right now. Build some annihilators. Build demolishers out of his T3 factories. Centurions are really not going to cut it, but it doesn't seem like Brown wants to attack just yet. The Nova's continuing to shell out their long-range damage. 38 kills on that one. 105 kills. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. 105 kills on that northern Nova. Good God almighty. I did say that these would be good, but they're even better than what I thought. He needs to build more. He only has 2. Imagine if he had like 5 or 10. Man, yeah. Novas can really take over a game and just start shelling the enemy base. Very similar to like a Bertha, but of course they're mobile. And they just get better over time as they achieve veterancy, making them more accurate and do more damage. Oh, I love this. I love this. The Vulcan was able to hit the T3 factory, so once again, long-range plasma cannon gameplay, the kind that we love to see and do not see often enough in our escalation games. That will be annoying, but the Nova's equally annoying. But now this Krogoth is making it to the front line, and I honestly don't know if Blue has enough to stop this. Blue has a lot of stuff, but none of the stuff really counters a Krogoth. That's the issue. Chimeras and Centurions are strong in their own right, and against most things quite effective, but Krogoth is not most things. You really need specialized counters for these monsters. We saw what happened in the last game I casted with Mr. Tag Rock and Lemminkainen. 3 Krogoths was all it took to break open Rock's base, win the game. And I don't like that Brown is being a little indecisive. If he just sent this in, he could get a lot of damage done. He's giving Blue enough time to throw up Annihilators and build the right counters that he needs. The Bertha continuing to put out long-range firepower, now targeting the Mantle Extractors. Not a bad choice. Unfortunately, Leicester still way ahead economically of anyone else. 3 Cerberus at the front line. And an Intimidator just finished for red, but yeah, 3 Cerberus will be good. Quite effective. There's not a ton of defenses except for these triple Viper, but Blue does not need to be sending his army forward here. This Krogoth can more than deal with this by itself, not to mention the Mammoth and the Goliaths and the Sumos. So Brown, with a second Krogoth walking down, Leicester is taking over the game. He is simply outproducing his opponents, or he's got the economic advantage and is translating that into tech advantage. Krogoth tier 3.5 unit, absolutely devastating at this point in the game. Around the hour mark, they can take over. Blue attempting to build Annihilators, but even 3 Annihilators will not be enough to stop 2 Krogoths. I'd like to see Brown stop being so indecisive. Green building Stratus. We haven't really seen much from Green. This Stratus didn't accomplish anything. But aside from that Vertigo harassment earlier on, Green has been pretty ineffective. And I really would like Brown to just send these Krogoths in. Of course, he's not aware that Blue can't stop this. He does not have God mode vision like we do. But 2 Krogoths is more than a match for most defenses anyway. Even if you can't see what your opponent has. It's not like a bombing run. Krogoth is just sort of a game-ending unit. You can just send it into the enemy base. Pink with his commander, I don't know what he's doing here. It's kind of scary. Tactical nuke will fly in, but this tactical nuke is not even going to phase these Krogoths. I would really like Brown to stop being indecisive. Either attack or don't, but stop hovering around the enemy base like an absolute fruitcake. Just letting him get free Annihilator shots. Blue with more peepers, but again, straight into Brown's base. Straight to where all the air defense in the universe is. Oh man. FN is not impressing me this game with his choices. This is frustrating. But the Vulcan is a good choice. But his use of scouts is frustrating. He could easily have sent them to the middle. So send them to the middle and then fly them out into every direction. Use the attack command to go in every direction so you can just see where the enemy has air defense. Which they have almost none in Pink's base. Pink's base is just so open to being destroyed at any point. But Nova's now creeping forward. And this is looking terrible. And the southern team, I think I mentioned that the southern team might have an advantage, 10-15 minutes ago. That is now no longer the case. The northern team certainly has taken control of this game. If Brown would stop pussyfooting around with his Krogoths and just send them in, he could probably kill Blue. Even with all these Annihilators and of course the Vulcan. It's not going to be enough to stop these two Krogoths. And one Krogoth may go down. Looks like he's going to maybe try to retreat it, maybe pull it back, let this other Krogoth tank the damage. The Centurion, or the Cerberus, have also reached the front. There's a lot more defense on this side. So the Cerberus will probably be stopped eventually, but these Krogoths, no such guarantee can be made, as the Annihilator's now going down. This Krogoth will probably die. But unfortunately the other Krogoth is very healthy, and Blue's base is going to begin crumbling. And this is so sad because Blue could have taken Pink out of the game so easily if he had just scouted correctly. And if this had been a 2v3 situation, it's possible they could have done it. If nothing else, the game would be a lot closer. I don't like that Brown's retreating his Krogoth. He can just keep walking in here. There's no reason to leave. Of course, he does not know that, but... Oh, hold that thought. Blue has actually found a way. He's kind of gone around Brown, and he's now made it into his base. Of course, there's quite a there's quite a few Doomsday Machines here. So I don't think this is going to get too deep into Brown's base. Brown's eco is still incredible, and with Green's help with the Stratus, that nice little sneak attack will not be effective. But yeah, this Vulcan is proving to be annoying. Unfortunately, that's all it is. All it really has been for Brown is annoying. Brown almost on a Vindicator, so he's kind of ceased Krogoth production to build the T-3.5 Flying Fortress. And I think a Vindicator could be good here because... Oh, okay, Blue does have an Empyrean, so Blue, if then not just resting on his laurels, he is looking for some kind of answer to the Krogoth. But, yeah, the Empyrean will outrange the Krogoth, but if the Krogoth can get in range, it will slice up the Empyrean pretty quickly, so ultimately, it will depend on the situation, but this Vindicator that was just completed may also be pretty effective. I don't think Blue has a lot of air defense. He's got, of course, the one slingshot, but I see no T3 air defense. And that's what he would really need to stop this Vindicator from destroying his base. The Stratus has already taken out most of the air defense here. There is a flacker somewhere. But this Vindicator should be able to simply fly in and eviscerate Blue's base. Brown, please stop being so indecisive. Make a decision, sir. But Green does not need Brown's permission. He, with his Stratus, has more than enough to take out most of Blue's base. There's almost no air defense here. Certainly not enough to cut it. One Stratus is going to be more than a match for this, and holy cow, there go the fusions. So Green finally finding the avenue of approach after Blue's attack taking out a lot of the air defense on the front. It left his base exposed. Finally, Brown deciding that he also wants to be part of the action. Most of Blue's economy is now gone. All of his fusions have been destroyed. Oh, excuse me, there's a few more here. But those will fall in quick succession, and now it's Red's turn to face the wrath of the Stratus and the Vindicator as well, if it ever gets here. So ultimately, the Empyrean was a nice idea, but in the end it won't accomplish much because the threats in the air are quite more than the Southern team is prepared to deal with. One Stratus in the end is all it really took. FN, I think, gave up. And with the Vindicator and Stratus tag teaming the Southern team's base, and with FN tapping out, of course, if he didn't tap out, he would have just died pretty quickly. But either way, I think that's going to be the game. Both teams did a really good job. This definitely isn't the highest skill game I've ever casted, but it was interesting. A lot of interesting things happened. I think my biggest complaint is that FN could have done so much more with his bombing run. But that is water under the bridge. In the end, it doesn't really matter because now the Southern team is going to die. Yeah. So nice game there. Pretty close. At some point, I did think the Southern team was ahead. But great job by Lester, man. He really upgraded his economy. He upgraded almost every single max to T3. So that was nice by him. But also, nice teamwork by everybody. Green, obviously, with good airplay. Stratus did end up basically winning the game after that Krogoth push. And Pink with the Novas and the Cerberus, and early on the Fido pushes. More Cerberus coming down. So, yeah, good job by both teams, but I think the Northern team played better as a unit and made better decisions. And Pink's base was vulnerable till the very end. It could have easily been exploited. But doesn't really matter now. The Northern team, I think, played better, utilized each other's strengths better, and ultimately probably deserved to win. I kind of feel like yellow and red could have done more. I'm not really sure what their strategy was. They had a nice defense here, so it was difficult to break this. But in terms of their offensive strategy, in terms of like winning the game, I'm not sure what their plan was exactly. Didn't seem like there was much of one. These Krogoths will move in, and that will be more than enough to kill Angel. His two teammates have already tapped out. So guys, that will be the game. An interesting 3v3. These kinds of games are good to cast just because, like, as informative videos or opportunity to teach the community. So not every game has to be high level. Some games can be like mid or low level as informative cast. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this cast. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.